Thank you for being here. And yes, today's talk is about the levels of consciousness. And we can say something about the gunas also. Why not? I just wanted to start with a verse from Bhagavad Gita. So let's read one verse from Bhagavad Gita. It's Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, verse 26. I think it's very practical verse. Translation. There are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about Him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Purport. This verse is particularly applicable to modern society because in modern society there is practically no education in spiritual matters. Some of the people may appear to be atheistic or agnostic or philosophical, but actually there is no knowledge of philosophy. As for the common man, if he is a good soul, then there is a chance for advancement by hearing. This hearing process is very important. Lord Chaitanya, who preached Krishna consciousness in the modern world, gave great stress to hearing because if the common man simply hears from authoritative sources, he can progress, especially according to Lord Chaitanya. If he hears the transcendental vibration Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is stated, therefore, that all men should take advantage of hearing from realized souls and gradually become able to understand everything. The worship of the Supreme Lord will then undoubtedly take place. Lord Chaitanya has said that in this age, no one needs to change his position, but one should give up the endeavor to understand the absolute truth by speculative reasoning. One should learn to become the servant of those who are in knowledge of the Supreme Lord. If one is fortunate enough to take shelter of a pure devotee, hear from him about self-realization, and follow in his footsteps, one will be gradually elevated to the position of pure devotee. In this verse, particularly, the process of hearing is strongly recommended, and this is very appropriate. Although the common man is often not as capable as so-called philosophers, faithful hearing from authoritative person will help one transcend this material existence and go back to Godhead, back to home. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So sometimes levels of consciousness can be looked as different dimensions, and that's interesting topics, dimensions, isn't it? Like sci-fi movies can speak about dimensions, esoteric books can speak about different dimensions. What is the meaning of different dimensions? Well, sometimes it may mean different places, sometimes it may mean same place, but you perceive it in a different way. So it very much depends on our consciousness, how we are going to see the reality around us. In this world, we are very much conditioned by two factors. Can you think who are those two factors? Constantly we are conditioned by these two factors.
Time and space?
Time and space, yes. Time and space. Very good. Time, time. You don't want to go to sleep, but suddenly the time comes and you feel, oh no, I have to go to sleep. You don't want to stop your whatever game or fun, but suddenly you feel very hungry. Oh, the time is dictating certain things. You don't want to stop doing what you're doing, but suddenly you gotta go to the toilet and you cannot do anything about it. So time is making us do certain things. And everything connected with the time happens in space. Yes, because this world is a world of space. This is the most subtle of the elements, ether. Yes.
Doesn't a third scenario comes into place? Time, space, and contrast. The world of duality, good and bad, inside, outside, sad, happy. So
Duality. Okay.
Three elements fundamental of this existence.
Yes.
You're dealing with day
Yes.
after day after day.
Yes, actually, if we try to analyze reality around us, we can analyze it in a different ways, and we can say there is one thing in the reality, there are 5 things, there are 20 things. It depends how much you want to go into it. And yes, duality is definitely part of this world, this reality. Good and bad, happiness and distress, gain and loss, so many dualities. But yeah, I wanted to start with this idea that everything in this world is conditioned or is dependent on these 2 factors, time and space. And now I will try to go through a gradation of looking the time and space from different levels of consciousness. And maybe we will be able to see how actually at different levels of consciousness, they are helping us to see the same reality in a different way. The same world in which we are living, according to our consciousness, we will perceive it in a different way. So we'll try to speak a little bit about that. Vedic literature is explaining that actually there are 8,400,000 different species of life, different forms of life. But sometimes they are also described as different levels of consciousness. Because if you just start counting all the different forms of life, with the small differences between themselves, you actually find they are much more than 8,400,000. But the main levels of consciousness, if you take them, the Vedic literature explains, you can come to this number, 8,400,000 different levels of consciousness or species of life. And out of them, it is explained that 400,000 are human forms of life. And Vedic literature is saying that the human form of life is very, very special. Why? Because we are gifted higher perception of the reality. We have higher intelligence, and through this intelligence, we can try to see what is actually the meaning of the world around us. You know, many times nowadays people, they are asking the question, how is something happening? Oh, how is this happening? How is that happening? How is this machine working? How is this food being produced? But rarely nowadays people are asking the question, why? Why this is here? Why I am here? Why I am existing? What is the goal of my life? That was the question that mainly people were asking in the Middle Ages, the great philosophers, German philosophers, Greek philosophers, Socrates, Plato. They were asking this question, why? Why are we here? What is the meaning of our existence? So this human form of life, it is said one can achieve it very, very rarely. It's given example. If we take a huge ocean, like Atlantic Ocean, and somewhere in this ocean is swimming a tortoise, and the tortoise goes under the water for a very long time, but from time to time has to go on the surface to take air. And somewhere on this ocean there is a piece of wood with a hole. So the moment this turtle decides to go on the surface to take a breath, suddenly its head goes exactly through the hole of this wood which is swimming somewhere in this huge ocean. This is the rare chance to get human body, human form of life, human existence. So that's why in the Vedic literature human form of life is considered really precious, because it can give you opportunity to see the world as something very, very, very different than what, let's say, animals can perceive from the world. Like most of the time, animals, they go around and they are asking one question. What is the question? Where is food? Yes. And humans also sometimes, but as we are going to see now, there are different levels of consciousness in the human form of life. So one of the ancient books, Vedic ancient books, Taittiriya Upanishad, is describing 5 levels of consciousness for the living entities. Or Nityananda Chandra was calling them koshas. Why koshas? Because sometimes they are considered like a coverings of the spirit soul. So the spirit soul can be covered to different extent while being in this world. So, or 5 levels of consciousness. So I will mention them first in Sanskrit. Anamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, or also Manamaya, Vijnanamaya, and Ananda Maya. So sometimes we can take them that these levels of consciousness, these are how the living entity experiences happiness in this world. Because as we were asking this question, why we are here, well, one very simple answer is we are here to experience happiness or ananda or bliss. Whatever we do in this world, we are doing it for getting happiness, isn't it? We sleep to get happiness. We eat to get happiness. We create relationships because we think this will make me happy. We go to make money because we think, oh, the money will bring happiness in my life. Everything we do in this world, we are doing it to get happiness. So one level on which we are experiencing happiness is Anamaya. Ana can simply mean food. This is a level where the living entity similarly asks more or less the same question. Where is food? And how can I get more and more food? And this is the essence of existence, or the main source of my happiness. So basically I live to eat, as they say. And also on this level of consciousness it is explained that the living entity is quite selfish, because perceive the whole world, the whole reality as what is there for me. And it's not really conscious about others, about their interests, about their needs. It's always what is there about me. And even if someone perceives other living entities around him, it will be always about what can I get from them for my happiness, for my enjoyment. So this is first level on existence of the human being. Then the second level is known as pranamaya. Prana, it can mean activity or life air, the moving of the life airs. The living entity comes to a level where it starts to understand that if I am active, I'm getting more results, and then I feel more happy. In other words, it's not just about food. There is something more important in life than just food. Like, for example, when we were very, very young, we were babies, and we were on this first level of consciousness, Anamaya, isn't it? Just like, where is food? You want to eat all the time. Like, where is the milk? Give me the milk. But then later, when we become whatever, like 7, 8, 10, 12, it's more about action. I want to go, I want to play. And yes, food is important, but food is more like the way to get the energy to go and do stuff. So then it's more about action, it's more about activity. And in a deeper manner, also it is explained that Pranamaya means a level of consciousness where you recognize that other people around you, they also have needs and they also have goals, and you are ready to cooperate with them. But again, you cooperate so that you can achieve your goals. But still you understand, okay, I can actually get much more benefit, much more gain in life if I cooperate with others. Instead of just using others, no, let me be friend with them and let me act in such a way that they get benefited, but I also get benefited. It's something like a good businessman. He's always ready to make the profit deal. It doesn't matter, it can be the worst enemy on the other side, but if the deal is good, no problem, we are friends. Then later we'll be again enemies. But just now, for a while, we are good friends because the deal is good. I don't want to miss this one. So pranayama means you are a very active person and you are getting your happiness from achieving stuff in life. Maybe now I'm not happy, but I know when I get this thing in the future, then I'll be very, very, very happy. So this is the strive, this is the goal of the people on this level. And then next level of thinking, of we could say perception of the human being is manamaya or jnanamaya. This is a very interesting level actually. It can be described as the level on which the living entity understands there is a set of duties I have to do in my life. Now it's about duty, it's not only about profit. On the previous level it's about profit. Whatever brings profit, I'm going to do it. If it doesn't have profit, I don't care about it. Now on this level it's not so much about profit. It's about what is my duty, what is my real goal of life, what is the purpose of life. This is sometimes is described as the level of consciousness of the civilized human beings. Why? Because there is a culture, and this culture immediately creates certain rules and regulations you have to follow. So there is a code of behavior between the different living entities. There are things you have to do and things you shouldn't do. And sometimes, if you do what you want to do, it may not be the best for you. Like, for example, if someone is on this level of consciousness and he is a businessman and he gives a word to other businessmen, and suddenly it comes that actually situation is a losing situation for him. So now he is in front of this dilemma. What shall I do? Shall I just back up and leave the deal? Or shall I do whatever I said I'll do? Keep my word. What do you think is the right thing to do?
The word.
Keep the word.
Well, not for him in the business, but in the whole spectrum.
But then you lose. You can lose a lot. You can lose all the money that you were working very hard to make the last 5 years.
Depends what kind of man he is.
Okay, maybe one time I cannot fulfill my word. Is it okay?
No.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, totally. Okay.
Totally fine.
Winning
What is the problem? If it's about money, everything is allowed. Yeah, that's why this is very interesting level of consciousness. And if we read the Vedic scriptures, this level of consciousness very often it will be addressed with the word dharma. Have you heard this word, dharma? It's a very, very often used term or word. Dharma means you do what is your duty. It doesn't matter if you are winning or you're losing. And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita again and again and again, he's speaking so much about dharma. He's saying to Arjuna, who is a warrior and he has to fight, and suddenly it looks like he will lose so much if he fights. But he fights so many times before, but he was always the winner. And suddenly now it looks like if he continues, he will be the loser. And Krishna is giving him the instruction, Sukhya dukhya samekritva labha labha jaya jaya tato yudaya yujasva naivam papam avapsisi. Actually, if you don't consider loss or gain good or bad, and if you just perform your duty, there will be no sin, and at the end you'll be actually a winner. You achieve your goal, Krishna is saying to Arjuna. So many stories in Mahabharata, in Ramayana, where apparently someone has to either lose everything or just escape. But these great personalities with like noble character, they are saying no, better to keep my word and lose everything in my life than just become like a coward and leave and actually not keep my word. Like Yudhishthira, they asked him to go to play dice, to gamble, and he knew everything was already kind of a cheating situation was created, and he knew if I go now, I'll lose everything. But according to his position, he had to go, and he went, and he lost everything. And still, Yudhishthira, he is known even up till today, so many years, 5,000 years, as a person with a great character.
Why did he have to go? Why did he have to go? You know, he's gonna lose.
That's the question. You know, because of those personalities, like those great kings or great saintly people, their word is more important than material gain and loss. Because word means character. If you say something and you do it, everyone trusts you, the whole society. If once you say something and you don't do it, nobody will believe again. So those people, they knew, I can do compromise with anything in my life, but I cannot make compromise with my word. If I say something, I have to do it. Like those great stories, like Maharaja Shibi. It's a very famous story. He was a great king, and he promised, I will give protection to anybody in my kingdom. It doesn't matter, human or animal. If someone asks for my protection, I will give it. And then this pigeon, he was trying to escape from another bird, I think eagle. Huh?
Hawk or eagle?
Yeah. And then went to the king and was saying, my dear king, save me, save me, save me. And the king said, yes, I promise I will give protection. And he took the pigeon and said to the eagle, that's it, he is under my protection. The eagle said, my dear king, I respect this, but we have a problem. I also have to eat, and this is my food. So now we have to something else to eat. And the king thought about it and said, yes, you're right. I also have to protect you. So what shall I do? Okay, I'll give you as much meat from my personal body as is the weight of this pigeon. And he started cutting parts of his body and putting it on the scale and the pigeon on the other side, just to prove that his word will not be broken. And then it doesn't matter how much meat he was putting from his body, the scale wouldn't move. So at the end he decided, okay, even if I have to sacrifice my life, I have to do my duty. And he himself stepped on the scale. And then, okay, the scale moved. And then suddenly this pigeon, the eagle, all of them actually, they took their original forms of demigods. And said, my dear king, we knew your glory and we just came to prove how great you are. So now you can come with us to heaven. You're ready for this. Why? Because he had exemplary character, noble character. There is another very interesting story from Ramayana. It's a story about a man who was running from a tiger. He was running, and the last moment he managed to jump on a tree, and he was going up the tree. And the tiger was looking from under. And suddenly when he was on the top of the tree, he saw a bear next to him. And now he was in a very difficult situation. What to do? Like the tiger is down, the bear is up. He was just like... And the tiger used the opportunity and said, my dear bear, we have to work with you against this man. He is our mutual enemy. Let's get rid of him. Push him down and I'll eat him and everything will be over. And the bear said, you know what? This tree is my home. And he came to my home and now he's my guest. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I have to treat him as my guest. He is welcome to stay as much as he likes. And then the tiger used his intelligence and said, my dear man, you are my good friend. Push the bear down, and I will eat the bear, and I will leave you alive. And the man was thinking, and he just pushed the bear.
Oh.
And while the bear was going down, the last moment the bear caught a branch and went again up on the tree. The tiger said, just see, he's such a rascal, push him immediately and everything will be over. And the bear said, the point that he is misbehaving, it doesn't mean I have to misbehave also. He's my guest and I have to treat him as my guest. And the bear just stayed there. So this example is given in Ramayana as an example how important it is to have a noble character. Why? Because if there are people with noble characters, everything will be fine. You know what to expect from anyone. And then the life becomes very, very easy, isn't it? Like in the Vedic culture, it is said that everyone has a duty, and you know what is your duty, and you do your duty, and everyone else knows what to expect. For example, if your duty is to be a saintly person, and okay, people, they come to you and they ask for good advice and to get knowledge, and they ask for blessings, but then they want to see that a saintly person, he behaves as a saintly person. So there are certain set of qualities that they expect from him to exemplify it. Now, if this person is acting exactly in this way, then it becomes very easy. But let's say if he's one person in front of them, and then hiddenly at home he is doing something strange, they'll lose his faith, isn't it? Is it so? Yes? Like, for example, you have someone like a lawyer. And he has to be a very honest person, isn't it? You're putting sometimes your life in his hands. What about if the lawyer is not an honest person? What are you going to do?
Fire him.
Yes, you want to find another one which is honest, because otherwise, what's the use? What if you got to go to a doctor? He has to make a surgery for you. And then suddenly you understand that actually they're giving him more money to not to use some of the materials that he has to use for the operation. And he'll just, while making the operation, he will skip few of the parts. Are you going to continue? No. Like those positions, they are very, very important, like a doctor, lawyer, teacher. These are Brahminical positions. Like to teacher, you go to get knowledge. Now, if suddenly you understand he's not really actually interested to give you knowledge, he's more interested to get your money, well, you're not anymore sure how much you want to go to this person, isn't it? So like that, everyone has a duty. And if we know the duty and if we perform our duty, life in society becomes very, very easy. Nowadays, situation is so complicated and so difficult and so stressful because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. Like you go into a taxi and the guy looks normal and he drives and he's making jokes with you and your friend. And then the last moment, suddenly, he's telling you, by the way, your bill is $370. You just drove me for 15 minutes. How 300? Well, you know, here is New York, different prices, bro. You gotta ask me in the beginning about the price. That's it. So you don't know what to expect from the people. So that's why on this level, Manamai is all about performing your duty, creating a good character, having a good qualities. And then one level higher, yes?
So the examples you gave were just like to the third level. the prime examples of so it's got two more levels, like wow.
Yes. Well, that's already, yes, quite amazing, huh? If you see such kind of personalities, people who are saying something and they are thinking something and they are doing the same thing. Wow, these are very special people. Those kind of people nowadays, they're considered like saints. If you see a person that he's never saying a lie, he's always doing whatever he says, this is a very special person. Yes.
Well, we are living in an era at this present moment. It's horrible to see. Let's say companies like telephone company, 2 years ago, you know the 2 years phase, they want you to change their phone. So the software, I used to be a programmer, software programmer. So the software of the program started to eat my memory that I didn't use, blocked me. I was not able to use the memory that I paid for. I started to black out pictures that I took, and I was using the application of the company to see the pictures. Then I downloaded a different application that didn't belong to the company. The picture was there, clear, but the company blacked out. So it started to simulate problems after the 2 years to force me to buy a new phone.
Yes, the
Oil
whole
company.
idea is like that.
Supermarket, oil company, 500 ml of oil in a bottle. Next to it, there was a 500 from another company. You could see clear. This 500 was not true 500. I purchased both, took it home, opened, filmed it. This bottle, 450 ml. It
Uh-oh.
was claiming 500.
Uh-oh.
The levels nowadays are unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's why we are saying that even if people are doing these things, then their life, it will become so better, so easy. That's why this word dharma is very important. Everyone should find out what's my dharma. And now we can speak a lot about this, but that's like a topic for a big big seminar. And you can look, if you like, a seminar that a devotee Mataji gave for Myo Mataji, Career Dharma. It's a very good seminar. It can help you to find your dharma, your duty in life, or in other words, what will make you happy in life. But just shortly, we can mention that some people, they are very happy if they are active in the educational field, or in other words, they are assimilating knowledge and they are giving knowledge to others. This makes them very happy. Other people, they are very, very happy if they are organizers, managers, administrators. They are helping for everything to function very well. This makes them happy, active people. Good controllers, good organizers. Other people are very, very happy if they see profit. If they do something and they don't see profit, this makes them very miserable. And if they have profit, they are very, very happy. This is how their mind is working. And then other people, they are very happy if they just have security in life. They don't want risk, they don't want problems, they don't want too much tension in life. They just want everything to be very simple, and at the end of the day, I know I can get my money and I can go home and enjoy life till the next morning. This is how they think. So we should actually analyze a little bit ourselves and see where we kind of find ourselves. And the idea is there is no lower and higher in these different situations. It's more about what will make me happy, because it's about self-realization, how to realize who are you and how to position yourself in life so that you can be happy. It's all about this. And then next level of consciousness we said is Vijnana Maya. Vijnana Maya, here we are entering from the material sphere of life into the spiritual sphere of life. Until now, it can be only material. Elevated human life, but still material. It's just about how to properly function in this material world. Now, Vijnanamaya means you get a knowledge, a spiritual knowledge, and this knowledge is helping you to understand, wait a minute, I'm not this material body, I'm a spirit soul. So as a spirit soul, I have actually a spiritual needs. So my life should not just be wasted of covering simple necessities as eating or sleeping or working. I have to have time where I'm investing in my spiritual development. the moment we start to understand this and we are doing something about this, it means our consciousness is reaching this level, Vijnanamaya, the idea that we are spiritual living entities and we actually should do something spiritual in our life. And then the last level is Anandamaya. Anandamaya is the idea that you don't simply understand you are spirit, but you understand you have a connection with the Supreme Spirit, which is the source of all happiness, Ananda. You know this word, Ananda? Have you heard? It's a very famous Sanskrit word, because at the end of the day, the Vedas are saying Anandamayo Bhyasat. Everything in life is about Ananda, about happiness. So if you understand the source of happiness, some people they call it Krishna, some people they call it Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, some people are calling it Brahman. If you understand the source and connect with the source of happiness, you will be eternally happy, eternally satisfied. So these are different levels of consciousness through which the human being can progress more and more and more and more. But then Vedas are not finishing up to this point. If one is curious and he wants to know even more, he can go even further. The Vedas are explaining that once you understand that there is a spiritual source, you can have a different kinds of relationships with this source. One relationship, very, very common, it's known as Shantarasa. Shanta means you acknowledge that there is a source of happiness and you acknowledge that you have connection with the source, but still you want the source to do his job and you want to have your private life. And you don't want too much the source to come into your life, okay? You have your life, I'll have my life, and up to here, okay? Everything is fine. So this means Shanta. Predominantly, we just want peace in life. We are spiritual people, we are practicing very seriously, but we are more interested just to reduce the suffering in our life. And we don't want also too much spiritual emotions, you know, because sometimes too much spiritual emotions also, they can create a little bit problems in life. You know, I have to take care of other people and their personalities, and they have things that they like, things that they don't like, and it's too much sometimes. So I just want to have my peace, okay? Just 4 o'clock in the morning, I go to my room, I close myself. Don't come before 10. That's my private time, okay? So Shantarasa. Then for those who are more courageous, they can go one level higher into Dasyaras. Dasya means the idea that you understand, wait a minute, actually my life is not just meant to experience selfish spiritual happiness. You know the way how we were talking about Annamaya, the first level in the material world? You are predominantly interested only from you and how you are happy. When in the spiritual world, also you can have this level of consciousness, and it's called Shanta. You just want to take care of your personal spiritual happiness. But then one level higher is you understand, no, wait a minute, it's not only about me. It's about sharing happiness with others. So let me help others be happy. So on this level, you actually want to do something for others. You want to help others to experience things that you have experienced. So you are ready to share knowledge with them, you are ready to share spiritual practices. You are ready to help others to make one more step on their spiritual life. It's called Dasya, servitude or helping others. And then after that we have 3 more levels, which are Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, parental love, and Madhurya, how you're going to? Romantic love. Okay, thank you. Very good. Conjugal, romantic love. So these are higher levels on spiritual consciousness when one can enter into very deep, intimate relationships with the source of everything, with the Supreme. Why these are so special? Because on the previous spiritual levels, it's more about awe and reverence in your spiritual practice. Okay, there is some source of everything, there is some light, there is some power, there is some energy, and he's great. And I'm here, and we have some connection, and you know I like you and I love you, and yes, from time to time I'll do something about you. But you know, mainly it's own and reverence. Fear, a little bit fear is there. Now on these 3 higher levels, this fear disappears. And you are ready to enter in such a close relationships with the source of everything that it becomes more fun. It's more fun. You know, you have a friend, and you are friends, but you are very reserved, and he's very reserved. And it's always like you are very cultured with each other, and you are very careful not to offend each other. And you know, you cannot really come into close, you cannot joke, you cannot, sometimes whatever, you cannot jump on the back of your friend sometimes or something like that. So it's very difficult to experience close relationships. So on these 3 spiritual levels, you can enter into very, very, very deep, intimate relationships with the source of everything, with Krishna. So deep that you don't consider this source being the source of everything. This is secondary. Now he is your friend, or even your kid, or your romantic lover. So you can have very, very, very close relationships. So this is what the Vedas are saying about going deeper and deeper and deeper in spiritual levels of consciousness. And even then, the Vedas are not finishing. They are giving even more information, that once you reach this level, which is called in Sanskrit prem. Prem means pure spiritual love. Pure spiritual love, one Acharya, he is giving a definition of pure spiritual love. Atmendriya priti vanchatare balekam, Krishnendriya priti cha dare premanam. When we try to gratify only our senses and we use everyone else just to give pleasure to ourselves, this is known as lust or perverted love in this world. But when you just try to give happiness to the senses of the Lord, or you are trying selflessly to sacrifice your energy for the others to make them progress spiritually, this is known as love, prem. So even when we reach these higher levels of prema, Vedas are explaining that there are even further stages. But those stages, they are so intense as emotions, spiritual emotions, that they cannot be perceived with this body, with this level of consciousness. Why? Because it is said this body can handle only the first level on this high spiritual platform. After that, the body will just stop working. Like, you know, sometimes in the life something happens, whatever, you experience strong pain. And what happens with the body? Yes, just shuts down. After 2 hours, hey, what happened? Just the body can handle only a certain level of pain and also a certain level of intense happiness, intense emotions. So on these higher levels, actually, our body, our consciousness can experience only the first of those higher levels. After that, it's not possible. You need a different body, different spiritual body. Otherwise, it won't be possible. It will just crash. And then if you want to know more of those levels, you can read a book which is called Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is describing the life of a great saint who is actually the Supreme Lord, the golden avatar, Lord Chaitanya. And there, in the final part of the book, actually are described different transformations through which his body was going because of his intense spiritual emotions. And some of them are really like far out. I mean, I don't think we gotta read them because but all kinds of strange things were happening with his body. Why? Because very strong emotions. Have you seen how the body sometimes suddenly changes when you experience very, very strong emotions? Like, okay, close your eyes. Go back to school. Remember the first boy or a girl that you really liked. Do you remember?
Can be a teacher too?
Whoa. Okay, can be. So do you remember the moments you were coming close to this person, or you had like opportunity to exchange few words, and suddenly you feel like suddenly you are completely sweating, just like for 5 seconds already, like you are completely in sweat, and like you become red and you don't know what's happening with your body. So intense emotions. Or do you remember another situation where someone really makes you angry? For example, you are in the car and he just, I don't know, tells you, you get a, I mean, okay, let's not use, he's just telling you, you gotta get lost out there or something like that. And just like for 3 seconds you're ready just to come out and burn the guy. So intense emotions, huh? So sometimes like people, someone becomes angry, he's like, everything starts like shaking, so intense emotion. And these are just material emotions. They can make your body like completely stop working.
Yeah, like people get heart attacks from
Heart attacks and yes. So how much more intense can be the emotions on the spiritual level? So yes, there is a spiritual life and there are spiritual emotions, and what we can experience here is just a small fraction. It's just an idea actually what spiritual life means. And why I read this verse from Bhagavad Gita in the beginning, this verse was explaining that nowadays we may not be qualified as the great philosophers. We may not be very, very austere, like most of us. We cannot just go live in some cave in the Himalayas with whatever, the tigers and the lions and the goats. Yeah, we cannot do these things. But we are sincere, we have some sincerity, and we are looking for something spiritual, and we want to be spiritual people. And now this verse was explaining, if you just go and listen from a person who has a spiritual knowledge, you can achieve this knowledge. You can achieve transcendental spiritual knowledge. And this knowledge will help you to see the reality in a different way. So this knowledge will actually transform your consciousness, will transform your world. But you'll be in the same world. You'll be living in the same place, you'll be going to the same job, you'll be driving the same skate, you'll be doing the same old thing that you were doing the last, 15 years. You'll be doing the same thing. But your consciousness now will be different. It will be Krishna consciousness. It will be spiritual consciousness. And you see the world in a different way. And you live with the different motivations. And you act with the people in a different way. Although you are on the same place doing the same thing. So this is the secret of Bhagavad Gita. Just by hearing from proper sources, like from proper spiritual books, from proper spiritual people, you can gradually transform your consciousness. And slowly you experience how your consciousness is going through all these different levels. And for you, these levels will not be just theoretical explanation. You experience them. You experience how your life is actually going through these different phases. And then we will all come to the level, to the moment when the spiritual emotions will become so intense that the body will not be able to handle anymore. It will be like complete ecstasy. Full spiritual party. And you don't want to stop because it's so nice and so intense, but you cannot go on. Have you had this feeling sometimes? You don't want to stop because it's so nice, but you actually you cannot go on because the body has limitation, and you're just like, I cannot go more than this. It's too much. But you don't want to stop because it's so nice. Isn't it? Like your favorite ice cream and you're eating whatever, the 10th bowl. And you don't want to stop, but you cannot go on. It's a very mixed feelings. So in spiritual life is also like that, very mixed feelings. You don't want to stop because it's so nice, but you cannot go on because the body is telling you, okay, that's it, I cannot handle more than this. If you want more than this, you got to go to the next level. You got to get the spiritual body. So that's the idea. And this is an experiment. Spiritual life is an experiment. It's not dogma. It's not a theory. It's not just something that someone is telling you gotta do, and if you don't do it the way how I'm telling you, you don't have any chance because only I have the authority to allow you to enter into the spiritual world. It's not like that. Spiritual life is an experiment. And there are certain components that you have to follow, and they are written in the textbook, in the spiritual books. And if you follow this, you're going through the experiment, and you can see if the experiment is working for you. And if for some reason it doesn't work, okay, go to the next experiment, next spiritual path, and find what works for you. And if you're a very sincere seeker, you'll definitely find. Why? Because Krishna will help you. God will help you to find your path, to find a way which is predestined for you to go to the next level in your spiritual advancement. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. So maybe, do we have time for
One or two questions.
one or two questions, if someone has?
Leave it for the people who have first time.
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
Yes. Somebody raise their hand back here. No? Don't be shy. He's vegetarian, he won't bite.
I mean, it depends how long you are keeping me here. I become hungry. So.
Goes to that first level.
Not after 9, okay?
But
Originally, I'm from the spiritual world. But this life, I appeared in a small place called Bulgaria, in East-South Europe, next to Greece, Turkey, in a city called Sofia, Wisdom, 44 years ago.
That's a capital, right?
Yeah.
That's a capital, yes.
Just curious.
Where are you from?
I was born in the city.
No, it's not true. You are also from the spiritual world. But okay, for a while you are just residing here, I agree.
I'm from heaven.
Heaven, yes. Something else? Yes.
Just one question, like how does a person move from one level of consciousness to other, and how do they know what consciousness level they are in?
Okay, 2 questions. You cheated me. You're making me work hard
And he's gonna get
to earn my dinner, okay? I'll do it for you. How do you know on which level we are? Well, the knowledge can help us to understand. Like we were explaining some criteria, and these criteria, they can help you to understand. Like, are you interested only to eat? Or you rather want to do something, you want to achieve something in life? Are you a person who is ready when he says something to keep his words? To act as a duty? For example, you're a family person. Are you going to take care of your wife in any circumstance? Or sometimes you're taking care, sometimes you're saying, oh, don't bother me. You just take care of yourself. So you can see how you're acting in certain situations and you understand on which level you are. Are we people who are interested from spiritual life? If we are, that means okay, that means we have already some connection with the higher levels of consciousness, because that's the goal of human life. So this explanation, Shastra, they gives lots of explanations. They can help us actually to understand. And the second part was, how do we move to these different levels? Well, that's why we need a spiritual practice, spiritual process. Through the first levels, we can just move naturally in life. Naturally, the first 3 levels, one can acquire just by moving in life. Like, for example, in the beginning in our life, we were more interested just from eating, isn't it? Then it becomes more about action, about achieving stuff in life. But it can be an honest way, it can be maybe not so honest way. Then gradually, if we are developing our consciousness with the time, with the years, we should become wise people. That's why it is said, old people, they are wise people. So you get knowledge, you get wisdom. You understand, wait a minute, it's not just about profit in life. It's more about relationship. Relationships are much more important than profit. just making some gain, whatever, collecting 20 or $200 more. It's not about that. It's about relationships with people. So first three stages, which are more or less material, we can move just by moving in life. But then for the higher levels, we need a spiritual practice. And Krishna is in Bhagavad Gita is describing different spiritual methods which are good for different people. One method is karma yoga. You do your duty, you do your job, but you don't pretend for the fruits of your job. At least some part of your fruits, you give them for some good cause. Whatever, you feed people, or you build hospitals, or you give them to temple or a church, do something good with your money. So this will immediately makes your consciousness go higher. Or another spiritual path that Krishna is explaining is Jnana Yoga. Study spiritual books, spiritual knowledge. Getting this spiritual knowledge will help you to do that. Elevate your consciousness. Then Krishna is explaining another path, Ashtanga Yoga. If you are following properly the path of Ashtanga Yoga, you also gradually elevate your consciousness, and you will understand you are not the body, you are spirit, you are a spiritual being, and you have spiritual needs in life, and so on and so on. Naturally, this knowledge will show up more and more. And then Bhakti. Bhakti is the path of Hare Krishna. So in this path, basically the idea is that in this age, people, we don't have time, we are too much distressed in our mind, so we cannot actually follow the other process in the best possible way. That's why very easy method is given, just repeating of the names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if we do that also, we will see that naturally, in a natural way, our consciousness will be elevated. Is that okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
So what?
Later.
He'll be here. So thank you, everyone.